Hey guys, and welcome to Slash Games. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use external resources such as sprites, backgrounds, sounds, that kind of thing. If you look at any really professional game, you're going to see like the executable, and you're going to see a bunch of these folders with sounds, textures, and within those you may or may not see, I don't know, the images and stuff. And this is so that the executable file size is really, really small. So what we're going to do is we're going to create like a boot room, and then in that boot room it's going to import all of these textures and all the resources from all these folders right into the game. Okay, so to do that I've got just the basic here, which is running off the whole character select kind of thing that I usually run off of. And I've got object player, object title, that's just the title of the game, object press, that I don't know, it's telling it to go to the next room. We've got all our selects, low, blah 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 blah, the next and the back buttons as usual. Okay, so first thing first, we're going to create a boot room. We're going to call this room boot. And now the player's never going to see this room. It's going to just flash really quickly. It'll be like a transition. You won't even notice that it exists. And in this room we're going to be telling the game to import all of our resources that we need, and we're going to be saving them into global variables, which we will then assign to the objects. Okay, so we've got that done in the create right over here. So this is the very first thing that the very first piece of code that the game reads. What we're going to do is we're going to make some sections here. We're going to say character resources, right? Make another section. Let's call this background resources. Okay. What have we got? Menu resources, sound resources. So I'm just doing this so we know what's what. Okay, so let's think characters. We've got, what have we got if we go to our folder? So I've made a folder here called textures, one called sounds. In the sounds we've got menu music.web. I suggest you use Wave Audio if you intend to sell your game. That's just less complicating, and with MP3 licensing and all that stuff. And textures, we got, see, check this, we got in the main folder and we got subfolders, and each one is like, here's backgrounds, and you got your other, this is just buttons and menu items, and then you got player, these are the player sprites, and selects, these are just the selects for those sprites. Okay, so if we go back to the game, what are we going to do? We're going to set the global variable name global.watch. What are we going to call this one? So let's make this one of the actual player sprites. So global.sprite lol. Okay, so that's the lol sprite. If we go back to here, we can see that that sprite will be player. Where's lol? There he is. Okay, so we want global.player_sprite to be seen as the sprite in the game. So global.sprite lol, right, equals, now we can use sprite add. I think it's sprite add. Yes, it is sprite add. Sprite add. Okay. Now let's find out what sprite add does. Go here. Type in sprite add. Here we go. Find the topic. Here we go. So sprite add. Right. It's got file name, image number, remove back, smooth, x origin, y origin. Adds image stored in the file name to the set of sprite resources. See, many different image file types can be dealt with. Blah 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 blah. I'll give images with some images, that's what the image number's for. So you select the GIF and you say which one do you want, etc. Okay, then here's the origin. This is a good idea to set that as sprite width divided by 2 and sprite height divided by 2 to get the exact origin. Now, that's if your sprite is a PNG or a GIF or an image file type. If you saved your image as a .GameMaker sprite, so here we got GMSBR file. So if you go into GameMaker, you create your sprites and then you save it from there as the special GameMaker sprite file. Then you'd use just sprite add and then the file name, because it saves all that information into that sprite file type. And also, I don't think people could edit your things, or if you're worried about people taking your resources, then that's a good plan. Okay, but for now, I'm just going to use sprite add. Also, another good thing is if you plan to release updates with your game, better sprites, you could just overwrite the existing sprites with the same file name, and it'll auto update it to your game, which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's do that. So we got sprite add, and here at the bottom it says file name. Okay, so the file name over here, let's go here, of lol, is textures player. Okay, so first we're going to use working directory, right? Because we don't know where the person's going to put it, so we wanted to look at the directory where the executable is in, and then we're going to say plus, right? So then we've got our backslash, and it was textures, and then backslash again, and player, right? Backslash, and this is the last thing. What is it called? lolsprite.png, right? .png. Don't forget the type. Okay, cool. Then we close that off. Then it says what? Image number. Now, it's the very first image. Okay. So we're just gonna say 1. There is no other images in it, so you always default 1. Remove back. Do you want the back removed? I mean, it is a PNG, so it doesn't matter. It's already got a transparent background. So I don't want it to try and make it a funny color or anything, thinking that it's not. Okay. Smooth. Now, do you want it smooth? I guess, yeah, let's smooth that. Okay. Then the last is our X origin and Y origin. Okay, so X, that's your width. So we're going to have sprite width, right, divided by 2. And the last one we're going to have sprite height, divided by 2. So that'll make it exactly center. Very important. Okay, so there we've got everything together, and that's lol. Now if we do this for the rest of them, okay, so that's pretty much done. So it's all the same kind of thing with the end. I mean, these last pieces are pretty much exactly the same, so we don't have to worry about those. Okay, so that's pretty much all the character resources. That's actual player sprite resources. Now, backgrounds. Let's think about backgrounds. Now, backgrounds aren't technically a sprite, so we can't use sprite add. So if we go F1 and we type in background add, there we go, backgrounds, background add. Here we go. It's pretty much kind of the same thing. We've got file name, remove back smooth. You just don't have, you know, the XY origin and the image number, because obviously it's just one image. And you know, here it says adds the image stored in the file name, and the rest, you know, there we go. Blah blah. The function returns the index of the new background that you can use to draw it or assign it to the variable background index 0. So this you'd put in your room create. You'd say, you know, background index 0 equals, and then the global name that you've assigned that background to. And then again, it says here that you can just select the file name right here. File must be there, GM. It's the same kind of thing with the sprites. It saves its own background file with all that information in there for you already. Okay, so we're going to say global dot background. Oh, that came out wrong. Global dot background, right, equals background add. Okay, there we go. And then at the bottom, it's showing us what we need. File name. Okay, so it's working directory, it's textures, and then where from textures. Back, textures, backgrounds. And then I've got logo right over here. So let's go back. Textures, backgrounds, logo 720p.png. I think it's a PNG. Yes, it is a PNG. Alright, that's done. Close that off. And then it says remove back. No, we don't want to remove back, so false. Okay, then what's next? Smooth, yeah. Just said what's smooth, sounds good. Alright, menu resources. Okay, so these are the selects. Perfect. Okay, so that's all of those resources. All ready to go. Right, now sound. Now, as you can imagine, because the background function background add was different to the sprite add function, clearly we're gonna have a different thing. So with the sound resources, we're gonna use something called sound add. Right? Search sound add. Now this is just if you're using the built-in GameMaker sound functions. If you're using something different like Fmod, then you just add the sound the way that DLL adds it, and you assign it to the global variable all the same way. Okay, so here it says file name kind preload. Okay, so kind is if it's a background, here it says normal background, if it's 3D, if you use the multimedia player. Okay, so in our one we're gonna have, it's gonna be a background sound, so it's gonna be a file name, it's gonna be a 1, and we're gonna put that on true for preload because we want it to load in the beginning, right? And it's gonna play in the menu, which is like the very first thing that pops up, so we want that to play immediately. Alright, so global dot, I'm gonna say menu music, right, equals sound add. Okay, and then the same way we've got working directory. Right. Copy that, put it there, and here in the folders we've set it to go to not textures, right, but sounds, and then menu music .wav, right? So we've got sounds, and then down here, oops, .wav. Okay, that all good? Sounds, yep, menu music .wav, just like that. Okay, then what was it? Kind was a 1, right? Was it 1? And preload we set to true. Okay, that's good. That's all good. So now once it's loaded all of these things, so this is in the boot room, remember, it's loaded all those, we want it to now go, room, go to, and room main, which is the main menu. We'll make that room just now. Okay. So once it's loaded all the global variables here with all their corresponding sprites, backgrounds, and sounds, it's going to go to the main menu. So let's make that main room now. Room main, okay, and let's set that to 720p, so it'll fit. Okay, let's make it black. Okay, all good so far. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is I've got my object player. So this is the actual player that does stuff, runs around, I don't know, whatever the player does, and we've got to now select the sprite that the player is going to use. Okay, you can see how I've added no sprites, no sounds, no backgrounds into the actual executable here, right? Because these are going to be added in externally. Now I've got all my selects, and they're the left presses are setting the global.mychart. Remember, as we've gone over in the Kickass character select, that's just going to select what character sprite image should appear in object player. Okay, so in object player, we're going to have a create event, right? And the create event is going to use a switch statement, because we're gonna switch, and then it's the global.mychart, right? That's easier than if else, way easier than if else statement. Okay, so we've got our cases here. We've got our case 1. I'm gonna break that, and then I'm gonna copy that about 5 more times. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, all good. And I'm gonna say here sprite index equals, now here's something. Now we're going to set sprite index to the global variable that we assigned that sprite image to. If we go back to the boot room, right over here, so here we got global sprite lol, red, blah blah blah. I'm going to copy all this. Okay, I'm going to say okay. Now this is object player. Now what is 1? If we can see if lol is 1, lol is 1. Okay, so go back in here. I'm going to put this all down here just for reference. There we go. Grab that. Sprite index equals global.sprite_lol. Okay, that's done. Bam. And then we just go change that to a 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a 6 right over there. Okay. Now what's next? Let's see if it's one. Let's see. What is troll? Okay, troll is 2. YUNO is 3. Red is 4. I think it's in the order I've got them here. That'll help a lot. And August is lastly 6. Okay, cool. Go out of these. Open this. You just make it a bit smaller so we can see that. Okay, I'm gonna copy this a few times. Alright. There we go, there we go, looking good. Take that all the way up there. Okay, so the next one after all is troll. So we find here, what do we call it? Global.sprite troll. And then 3 was 1, 2, 3 is why you know. Okay, then 4 was red. Okay, then 5 was alone. This time he's not alone because he's not lost. And Migusta is right there at the end. And then we can delete all this, we don't need it anymore. Okay, so we've got lol, troll, wino, red, alone, Migusta. Now that sets all the sprite indexes depending on my char when object player starts, when it's created. Okay, so that's pretty simple. And we've already set the x and y origin. If you haven't set the x and y origin, or if you put 00 at the end of that sprite add, then you'd put something like sprite, I think it's sprite offset, sprite set offset, there we go, and then you say end, right? Okay, that you just put sprite index because we want it to be one of these sprite indexes, and then your x off and your y, that's where you put your sprite width divided by 2, sprite height divided by 2, but we've already set all that, so we don't need it. Okay, so then let's go into our step here. We're going to give it some controls. And just for fun, I'm going to say image angle equals point direction. Let me say we want the x and y origin to point to mouse x and mouse y. That's just for fun to make it twirl around a bit. Okay, I think that's all good. It's all good. Now let's go to object title. Here you are, object title. Now we've got to set this one sprite index. We've got to do it for everything. We're going to say create and sprite index equals global dot title. If I'm not mistaken, I'm sure it was global dot title. Yes, global title. All good. Okay, that's all good. Then next, let's go to object press. Here you are. So this is, press enter to continue, and here we're going to do the same. We're going to add a create, and we're going to say sprite index equals global dot press. Now I'm going to make this press thing, I'm going to make it fade in and out, prompting the user to press enter. So I'm going to say fade out equals false. Oh wait, equals true. So we want it to start fading immediately. Let me see, how big is that image? Textures, I think it was in other. That's pretty big. I'm gonna halve it. So we just say here image x scale equals image x scale divided by 2. I'll just halve that. So the same here. Just change it to y. Keep the dimensions. Right, quickly add to the step. Then I'm gonna add, I don't know, if fade out equals true, I don't know, then image, image alpha, I don't know, minus equals about 0.05, and here we've got else image index plus equals 0.05. Alright. Then I'm going to say if image alpha equals 0.5, so we don't want it to completely go transparent. Then we're going to say fade out equals false, so we want it to stop fading. And here we're going to say else if image alpha equals 1. So if it's fully opaque, then we want it to fade out equals true, right? Okay, that's pretty much that. Done, done, done. Yes, 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 yeah. Red, white, blue. Okay, we're gonna add event for a key press and then enter. That's gonna go to room, go to room. I think that's gonna be our select screen. Whoops, do that, lap. Okay, we still gotta add our room. I'm gonna add here, this one we'll rename it to room select. Okay, all good. So it's boot main select. And let's make this as usual. Okay, and give it a black background for now. It's all good, it's all good. Okay, now let's see. Did we add? No, we haven't. We haven't added the global select here, things here. So let's go back to our boot. We're gonna grab all these names. We just need this right there. Okay, lol select. Open all these up. Make a create event. As usual, sprite index equals, and then this one is me gusta. So some of that there. There we go. Okay, done. To create one here. Sprite index equals. This one is alone. Okay, do that and that. Alright, set up. So now we've taken those global variables that we've loaded in at the beginning of the game, and we're now setting them to all those selects as soon as they're created. Okay, so now that that's done, we can go on to the very next phase of this whole thing. Okay, we have those object next and object back buttons. We have to also add those sprite images here. Sprite index equals, I think it was global dot, it was a button next and button back. I'm going to assume that that's what I would name it, just to be quick. Might as well just check afterwards. Yeah, button next, button back. Okay, that's very good. All good, all good. Okay. So that's all done. Oh, we've also got to tell it to go to the next room. I've already added that left press here. It does the checking and it says, hey, let's go to game world. Okay, so let's make that room. Go to our room, game world. Okay, now that should correspond nicely. Yep, room, game world. And the back will just take us, back to the select screen, as usual. And here we're going to set this as 128/720. Okay, very, very good, very good. Okay, so let's go to room game world. Now, in room game world, this is where I'm going to put that background, right? So let's go to the create code. And here we're going to say, firstly, we're going to say that we want a background. Because here, in backgrounds here, we've said nothing. We said draw background color, right? So we're going to say that it is visible. So let's go settings, we're going to say background visible, and it's going to be naught, and we're going to set that to true, because otherwise if you set it to there and it's not visible, it's just not going to work. Okay, background, and we say background index, just like sprite index, so it runs on the same sort of thing. And here we've got our global dot background. Easy peasy. Just put that in there, and that's good as it gets, the background. Alright, next let's go to room select. Over here, do some create code. We're going to set here to say, now we've got that sound, remember? And we're going to say here, if sound, right, is playing. So the sound is playing, if you've gone over my sound tutorial, you'll know that that says, hey, if the sound is playing, do something else. So I'm going to do the opposite of that. If sound is playing, right? So it's not playing, and then we set the sound, which is global dot menu music. Okay, see, we haven't even put in the name. We've just put in the global variable that we've assigned to the sound that we've loaded in. Okay, so if sound is not playing, then we say sound play, and put that in right over there. Okay, done, done, and done. And also we want to set global.myChart to naught, so that nothing happens when we click the next button if we haven't selected something. Yeah, because otherwise it's going to make a mess and cause some errors, so let's not have that. Okay, so that's good. Display, blah blah blah. Okay, that's all done, all done, all done. Now, I think we've got everything in and it's all ready to test. It's all ready to test. Alright, so we're about ready to test this all out. Mustn't forget to add all the things to the rooms, and also I have no idea how loud that menu music is going to be. So I think I'm going to change the volume. So let's go to where's it going to play? It's going to play in the main menu. No, not in the main menu. Wait. I think I added it to one of these. Should have added it to the main menu. What is this? Select. I'm going to add this. I'm going to replace this with the main menu because that comes first. What are they? And I'm going to say I think it's sound volume. There we go. And then index is just global.menu music. And I'm going to put that on naught, which is low. So hopefully it doesn't explode with loudness, because I think this little soundbite is quite loud. So hopefully that works. So it's going to set that to, okay, softer. Very good, very good. Done and done. Okay, so boot room has nothing. It doesn't do anything. We don't need to put anything in there. It's going to quickly go to the next room as soon as it's loaded everything in. So here we're going to go to the main menu, and in the main menu it's going to have the title. Let's put it, I don't know, over there. It's going to have that press. It's going to tell the user to, hey, press enter. I think it's enter. Yes, press enter. Okay. When they do so, it's going to go to the next room. So that's the main menu. Then select. Over here we're going to have all our selects. So we're going to have our lols. Oh wait, this is going to center it. Okay, so hopefully we can get all this right. It's going to look a bit messy, but that doesn't matter. You could always replace. You can make one sprite as, you know, your marker or your placeholder. Just so you can see where you're aligning everything. You can always get rid of it afterwards. That would probably be a good idea. Red and alone. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, we've made 2. Lol, troll, you know. There, I need that. You can go over here. Okay. And then we've got our next button. Just gonna go somewhere there. I think that's all good. Then our game world. Right here we're gonna have our player. And I think that's it. Oh, and the back button. Let's put that at the top corner right over here. Okay, should be fine, should be fine. Okay, so we've placed all the things in their places that they need to be. And now we're gonna test it out. I'm thinking, because our textures here they're kind of black, I don't think it's a good idea for me to have that black background in the select, otherwise it's going to be messed up. So I'm just going to make that white. Okay. All good. So in our room boot we've got all those things here. Yeah. Okay, and then our main menu, it's going to play that sound. I hope 0 is fine. Okay, so either it'll make it softer or it just won't play the music at all or something. I don't know, let's test it out. Okay, so it's not playing the music. So obviously 0 is telling it that it should be so soft that no one could hear that. You know, it's okay, so we have to put it as 1. Okay, so let's just test everything else for now. So there, it's loaded the best game ever. That's the title sprite. It's loaded the enter sprite. Press enter to begin. Okay, here it's loaded all our selects, right? can't push next because my char is 0. So now, yeah, I say get a placeholder so you can place these in nicely, and then the placeholder just get replaced with whatever you've loaded in externally. Now if I click on one of these, it's going to go to the next. There we go. So we've got our whole lot. There it is. Blah 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 blah. Got our background that's loaded, and we've got the back button. It's also good. It's interesting. It hasn't done the origin properly. It's setting the origin to like there. What the hell's up with that? That's weird. Okay, but anyway, back. Let's go back to here. Let's have a look here when we loaded these in. I think we said sprite height over there. That's your X, which is your width, and your height is your Y. Yeah, that's weird. I think what we should do, go back to object player, and just for the hell of it, we should just add this sprite set. I think we're set offset. There we go. And here we've got sprite index. There we go, sprite index. Then we got your sprite width divided by 2 and sprite height divided by 2. Okay, so that's good. And the other problem was the music. It didn't play because apparently it is too soft. So I'm going to take this away. It's going to get loud. It's probably loud. I haven't edited this little soundbite. I don't even know where I found it. So please pardon me if it is extremely loud, but here we go. Yeah, it's playing it. So I guess that's good. That's good. And all of these are in. There we go. It is working. Oh, thank goodness that's over. Anyway, it is working. The sound was loaded. That all worked. The object players, it selected that sprite, and then it did the origin correctly. Funny enough, when we added the sprite set offset. I guess I assumed that in this boot thing it would set the X and Y's for you. Over here. I mean, it says X origin, Y origin. Why wouldn't that work? Well, that's strange. But yeah, I highly suggest that you should import your sprite file into GameMaker, do all your editing, set your origin, then save it as a GM sprite file, and then put it in that directory. And then all you got to do is use sprite add, and then the file name. Remember that one? And then there you go, bam. Much easier than all this stuff. And then people can't edit your sprite files also. Okay, so that's cool. So, with this method, you can really reduce the file size of your executable. I mean, if we go into here, let's go back here. Our resources here come up to, how big is this? 6 megs. It's probably mostly the sound, which it always is. Yeah, 6.442 is just the sound. Now imagine that was in your, your project file there. Then this would be like over 10 megs, especially when it's an executable, it's bigger. So you can keep it to 13 kilobytes, and you can have the textures and your sounds separately. And say you end up hating the song, I mean, which is possible, it's kind of annoying. Then you could just replace it with something else with the same name, and it would play that, as if nothing's changed, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty much external resources, your sounds, you've got your backgrounds, you've got your sprites. I will be adding a final product to my Dropbox, and I'll put the link in the description below, and you can always fiddle around with. If you're having problems, you can just leave a comment. And if you found this video educational and helpful, tell your friends immediately. Just go to your friend and tell him about it. And also, feel free to comment, rate, and subscribe for more. I'll be back next time. I don't know what we'll be doing, but I'll put it in my About Me thing with all the updates on the schedule and stuff. Well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.